What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what it is. This is RapAboutRadio, another episode of Mental Breakthrough. Again, I'm here with my radio listeners, y'all listening in, and also I have my IG followers right here behind me. And today we have a special guest with us, man. I'm happy and honored he came and connect with us. He go by the name of Malcom X Bowser. What's going on, brother? How you doing today?
What's good, man? I feel good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, man, no problem. First, I just want to say congrats, man. Congrats on the new child, on the newborn, man. I know how that journey you about to endeavor. Cause I got a 2-year-old upstairs, so I know. You know what I'm saying? I know how that is. Right. So listen, man, I really want to, connect with you because with these conversations I like to have, it's really I like to inspire. Like I work with a lot of different individuals, but it's interesting because everyone has that story to where they want to get to a point where they want to quit. They always hit this part where in their journey they start doubting themselves and quitting, and I always want to kind of reach back and kind of tell them to push through is all a part of the struggle. And you being an entrepreneur, an author, you have your own podcast. We're gonna get into that more later, but I'd like to start this conversation on have you came across that threshold of where you had doubt or you wanted to kind of fold at one point?
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, being an entrepreneur, like, you never really know where it's gonna just kind of work or where things you have put in place to just kind of like fit in that puzzle. Right now, I would advise people to try to just see the bigger picture. Right. You know what I mean? If I was to give advice, because again, I feel like anybody who's trying to create something, even if you are not trying to be an entrepreneur, even if you're trying to just get a great job or land somewhere in your career field that's really extraordinary. I think everybody reaches that point where they feel doubt in themselves, so me personally, I find comfort in knowing that I'm not the only one that's been through that.
Right.
I mean, that's just me. So I don't really know, but I got used to from like an early age because my parents always had me in extracurriculars, and I was always competitive just naturally. I wanted to get better, so they put me in martial arts, and when I was young, and my mother and my pops, they told me like, you practice, you'll get better. And you have tournaments, like actual competition that'll show your progress. So again, like that was my first kind of like my first instance where practice made me better. So it got me used to the process. And then when I got a little older, I started playing football. And I remember my junior year was a rough year for me because I didn't get a lot of playing time. I rode the bench like mostly the whole season. Like it was a few times I got to play, but then my dad, he took me out to dinner, and he had like a really long talk with me. He was just like, "Yo, if you want it next year, you have to just go at it like you've never gone at anything before." So
what position? What position?
I played corner and strong safety.
Okay, all right, okay,
yeah, I played corner and strong safety. My highlight tape is on my YouTube channel somewhere. Like, you gotta go deep, though. Yeah, so, like, that year, like, that off-season, like, that was, like, the most obsessive I've become, like, I was ever been, like, at trying to get better. So, like, that just kind of laid out the blueprint. So, when I transfer to other things, like writing a book, like, you have to just, some days are gonna be boring, some days are gonna be tougher than others. Some days you might get a whole chapter done, some days you might get a page done, but as long as you get something done, I think that's a win.
Right. Oh, so all right, so we're gonna deep dive a little bit more, but all right, let me go back. Okay, because I see your mom was an educator, correct?
Yeah.
And then we all know who Pops is, the Black Dot. So explain a little bit about, I guess, that upbringing, because you're very you're very what they call woke, right? You're hip to what's going on in the times we're living in. So kind of explain that upbringing, that dynamic with your mom and your pops, and how that instilled into you what you got today, like that education wise.
So I would say my parents they gave me, like, I guess, the best of both worlds. Like, my mother is academic in the sense that she really enforces schoolwork, school education, you know, go to school, get your degree, stuff like that. My pops, on the other hand, is very learned, but at the same time, he's also alternative in his teaching as well. Like, yeah, like, you know, my pops, y'all know my pops. So I got the best of both worlds. So when I got an assignment, like the first time like I ever came into consciousness, I would say I was like in the first grade, and I had an assignment on Christopher Columbus. And so my pops was like, all right, explain it to me. Like, so what happened? So I'm like, you know, Christopher Columbus, he came here and he met the Indians. Like, you know, I'm talking like a 6-year-old. He was like, how did he discover America if there was people here? The light bulb went off. I'm like, oh, right. Like, yeah, like that makes sense, right? So then that's when I really just started asking questions. And then and on the flip side, like in the academia side, that taught me how to research. That taught me how to think critically. Right. And then my pop side, that taught me to just how to question everything as well, to question exactly what I'm learning, so I get the best of both worlds in that sense.
Right. No, that's crazy, because I have a similar, you know, back, I'll say right around first grade for me too. That's when I kind of stepped into consciousness. But I found it was funny because I remember a quick story. When I was in college, right, and I had a paper. It was a philosophy class, and I think my report was like, who was the first to come up with like science and math or whatnot. So the teacher gave us a you know, reading material, resources to go through. So I did my own research. You know, my mom being who she is, I did my own research. Came back with a paper about Egypt. Right, so. And it's crazy because he failed me, and I had to stay back a whole nother semester because I failed this course because he was upset I didn't use what he recommended me to use. But even though I gave him truthful or factual work saying this was Egypt, he wanted me to use Greek philosophy. So I think that was like the first time I clashed with, like, you know, westernized learning with own independent, like you said, alternative research, and I think that's kind of funny. So, but yeah, I say, go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I used to get into it with my teachers all the time, so like I already know how that goes.
Yeah, I thought that was real interesting. But all right, so let me go ahead and dig deeper a little bit. So I have, you see on the flyer, I always have 4 pillars that I like to theme this on: faith, character, will, and patience. Those like 4 main ingredients I found myself I had to develop to get to where I'm at now. So before I ask you about the faith and everything of that nature, could you just give a brief synopsis on how did you and Pops come together and say, you know what, we're gonna do this podcast, and now y'all blowing up. How did y'all come together, and like, can you give me the backstory on that? Like, what was that idea like?
So, like, I wrote about this in my book. I always wanted to be an author, but I had a few ideas that I flirted with that I started writing about, but I had no real direction. My pops already wrote Hip Hop Decoded. That came out when I was like in the 7th grade. Yep. So I would go to him for advice and things like that. But when he first wrote his book to now, because he was working on Urban Culture Decoded, that was like my senior year in college at that point. So from 2005 to 2015, just selling a book, just selling anything kind of changed, because he was used to bookstores and street vendors. When now everything is online, you have to have an online presence. Right. So I remember I was working at Bloomingdale's my senior year in college, and everybody, like all the real wealthy people like that came in, they all started their own business. So I was like, all right, my dad had his own publishing company area, so I was like, okay, I kind of want to go into the family business. Right. So the first plan for him was to create an online presence for him. Like, people knew him, you know, within the conscious community, things like that. People knew him, but he was always like a ghost. Like, he would come in, pop out for a little bit, and then go back in. Right. He wasn't really comfortable with just always being in front of the camera. And me and him will always have like these super dope conversations. Like the podcast, which I see, is really just an extension of what we talk about on a daily basis. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we just put it on camera. So I remember like just like researching marketing and things like that for his book, for urban culture. Like he was done with it already. So we just researching. I said, yo, I think you should do a podcast. He was like, nah, I don't want to, I don't want to dilute my stuff because like that. And I don't want to just always be on camera. I want always people to see me like I'm a mystery. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So then I want to say like a few weeks later passed. He calls me like, yo, I think we should do a podcast. I'm like, see, here you go.
Right.
And then because I was going to start a blog, and this is at the same time, I was going to start a blog to kind of build my readership for my book that I wanted to write eventually.
Gotcha.
So it just kind of, we just said like, it kind of just knocks two birds with one stone. So I wrote a book. I started a blog.
Yep.
I started the Urban X blog in 2017. And because my dad is a writer, so we both would write. We had a few other people that would write for us. And then we started the YouTube channel the next month, I believe, right? So if you people who are following us, the YouTube channel was just consisted of him sitting in the chair and me.
Yeah, I remember. Yep, it was just him. Yep.
Yeah, and that was it. And the more videos we did, the more I got comfortable kind of hearing my voice, because I wasn't used to just hearing my voice on camera either. I was behind the camera. I wasn't even in front.
Right.
And then what happened was my dad had me interview. I think he had me interview Adika Butler first. Then he had me interview King Simon, and then he had me interview Phil Valentine, Dr. Phil Valentine.
Okay.
And that was like the major moment. He was like, all right, now I think we could, because the plan was always for a podcast, but we wanted to build some type of audience first.
Yeah.
And then once we started the podcast, it was weird because it kind of went back to square one again, because people weren't used to that format. They were used to seeing my pods. So we had to kind of work a little bit harder to even create an audience around what we do. And now if you see the comments, you see like the inside jokes people get, like they really just come to see us. It's
right.
Dope.
Yeah, I got like it's like a family now. Like when you go in there, like I came up on y'all. I don't know how. You know how YouTube algorithm is, but
yeah,
I came up y'all sometime last year, and then now me and my wife, we be. I focus on that, man. We checking y'all up because it's just I like what y'all do, because y'all giving the listeners a new way just to ask questions, to look at things. Ain't nothing wrong with asking questions. You know what I'm saying? So I really commend y'all for that, and I really hope y'all keep doing that. So let me ask you though. So in that journey, because it was, I said, y'all 3 years in now, correct?
Yeah.
In this journey, can you tell me, or tell everyone, how has, first of all, faith played key into the development of where you guys are now, and how did faith play a major key in y'all?
It's been major, because there's been a few times that we really just sat down and really didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you're familiar with YouTube, you're familiar with the community on YouTube, so you understand, like, there's people who do whatever. They talk about just nothing for hours on end, and they have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that watch them every week. And we try to be professional. We try to have our technology up. Like, if you see the first few episodes to now, it looks like night and day.
I mean, y'all came a long way, but that's the,
You know what I'm saying? So, and it can get discouraging when we don't get the same traction. But then we had to start realizing that, and this just comes from, I guess, experience. We had to come to realize that your tribe, your specific tribe, your viewers, your readers that mess with you, you have to feed them instead of trying to get other people. Right. So that's what we've been focusing on. We've been focusing, because at a certain point, like, say you have 1 million subscribers and stuff like that, and not everybody is really a supporter. Like, they can be subscribed to you, but they're not a real supporter of you. You know what I mean? And they can flag your videos. They can do all types of weird stuff that you've seen go on. You know what I mean? So we've just embraced, like, our community. Even though we have a large community, but we just embraced our community, and we just stuck to doing what we do.
Right.
And you kind of need faith, and you kind of need faith in yourself and faith in each other. Like, who's a better like partner than my pops? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And my stepmom behind the camera, like who's they family? So
right.
Who's a better partner than that?
So how? Speaking of faith, like because you speak on tough, challenging issues that you see that's going on in the world, that like people are getting bashed and crucified by traditional media, and we know how, like you say, real estate people, we know how it is. But how is that? That faith over fear, like having to be fearless of, I'm gonna stand on truth and talk truth no matter what. You know what I'm saying? How is that? Because I'm sure y'all got flagged or reported and the hate has been coming. Like, how is that the faith over fear being taken over?
I'll be honest with you, we think about it only in the sense of like we're trying to run a business, so we don't try to abandon what we've built, you know what I'm saying? But we do it. There are certain points that if you watch, we both just kind of just say, all right, whatever, we're gonna talk about this. Because like we talked about feeding our audience knows when we're not being authentic too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like our audience knows if we like sold out and not trying to talk about an issue, and we don't like feeling like that.
Right, because we can see, not to cut you off, because we can see, like when you're trying to be professional, like, and we understand that your audience, but then we appreciate when the passion come out. Because I think the last one y'all just did, Pops had, he was just like effort, and we could tell it was pissing them off. You know what I'm saying? So we appreciate that passion that comes along with it. You know what I'm saying?
So that's really mainly it. It's not about being scared. It's really about just being honest to yourself.
Right.
I would say. You know what I mean? Because we always talk about a lot of these people in the mainstream, they can't be honest. There's other reasons why they can't be honest.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely other reasons that are beyond our control and that goes beyond faith, and like it's a real fear why they can't go. They can't really be honest. So we're in a different position.
Right. So let me ask, how does character, my next thing, pillar is character. Like, just touch a little bit about, your character and your father's character, and how has character played a major part, even in your writings. How was your character built, and how does that form for you?
Both my parents, my whole family, we're big on like your name. You know what I mean? We're big on like your name not having like real just dirt on it. And again, if you watch YouTube, you can see a lot that goes on when everybody's name has a lot of dirt on it, a lot of smut on it. So we try to always be above it. Like right now, when like say for example, somebody buys a shirt from us and they get the wrong shirt somehow. You know what I mean? It happens.
Right.
We'll just send them another shirt. You know what I mean? We'll just send it to like, listen, because we don't want anything. We don't want the the scammer title. We don't want any of that stuff. And then we also just don't want people feeling like we don't want the image like we're better than everybody else either, because we're not. You know what I mean? We're human. Yep. So that's why we try to be as authentic as possible. Me and my pops and my stepmom too, we've gone through it. We've had real arguments, you know what I'm saying? But we're family and we're business partners at the same time, so we have to figure out a way to get past certain stuff. I'll bend sometimes, he'll bend, and then we all just try to come in the middle.
And so that's interesting, because that's going to bring me into the patience aspect of it. So now, for ones that's listening, how do you go about one being patient, but like you said, you don't want to have that dirt in your name, but in this environment, when you coming up, you're doing for self, being independent, you see a lot of scammers. What it looks like they're winning at the moment, because they're scamming people out their money, hustling a certain way, and you see them flashing all the money and living that lifestyle. But what is it that patience, because like I said, I look at y'all gonna shine, bro. You know what I'm saying? Y'all stay consistent, y'all gonna shine, because again, like I told my last guest, the minds of the people, or the frequency is starting to come around to the stuff y'all been talking about for years.
We look like geniuses now, like it's crazy.
Right. So talk to them about the significance of why being patient is so key in this. How have y'all been patient with this?
Well, I think patience is key in like any endeavor that's worthwhile. You know what I mean? If you're trying to graduate from school, if you're trying to anything, if you're trying to get an extra degree, if you're trying to get that business off the ground, like I think patience is really the key to all of that. With us, I think it comes down to like our values. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not trying to have we're a family business, so we're not trying to have our family on the internet looking crazy. You know what I mean? Like we're not doing that. And then two, I think we understand that none of us come from a real business background, so we're learning at the same time. We're all learning together at the same time. We're learning what works, what doesn't work. And we understand that things that really are built super fast really come down just as fast as well. Right. So we appreciate the slow grind. Like I said, we appreciate the following we have cultivated, because even though our subscriber counts, it goes up slow, but these are the people who actually took the time to watch us and really give us their attention, and we appreciate it.
Right. Definitely. And let me ask you a little bit about your writings and your book. Like, what was the inspiration, behind your book? I know you like to highlight your Black excellence, but what was that made you want to compile these stories and put that out to the world? What was the inspiration behind that?
So when we first started doing the Urban Excellence segments during the show, a lot of people, we didn't realize how many people took to it until like they started emailing us like their personal stories and things like that. And this is that always bugged me out too. Like, wow, like y'all appreciate us just telling your stories. So that was one thing. And then two, just in the whole podcast, in the whole blogging and podcasting experience, I started in my whole entrepreneurial experience, I started appreciating other people's journeys, no matter what it was.
Right.
Yeah, so I went to school with a lot of interested people and a lot of people who are doing great things. So I said, okay, this is actually what I'm passionate about. The other books I tried to write were really self-serving, ego-driven books, I would say.
Really?
And yeah.
Why would you say that? Why'd you say that?
Because they were just attempts for me to just say I'm an author. There was no real passion behind what I was writing. And if anybody who's listening has tried to write something longer than an essay, if you try to write a book on something you're not passionate about, it is excruciating.
Me, I'm in that process. Yeah.
So once I found something, and it already fed into what I'm doing now. So it kind of just like the train was on the track with the blog and the podcast already. So the book kind of just added on to it. It kind of gave me some I guess credibility in that little lane. So that's what kind of helped me get through it, the process.
So you was a history major. So how did are you still taking components from what you learned there and instilling in what you're doing now, or like how was that transition from like history? Because you still cover it, but you're from history to like current events now. How did that transition, or should I ask, when you was in school, did you see your path going a complete different direction? Is that a better? Yeah, that's a better question. Did you see it?
So when I was in school, I wanted to be a museum curator. That's what I wanted to do. And then once my focus changed, my pops, he definitely told me to go into something, go into school for something business related. So he always just brings that up.
Right.
But yeah, he always brings that up. But what I'm doing now, the way I research things, because I feel like our show, we cover so many, like a real wide range of topics. Like we'll go into technology, politics, hip hop. My pops will go metaphysics. Like we can really go where you want to go. And I feel like we do that better than anybody, to be honest with you. That's just my personal opinion.
Oh, real right.
But, but it taught me how to research. Sometimes people, and in the age of information and fake news and things like that, people just share stuff because of a headline. They don't read what's really happening. And then I have the back catalog, I would say, to understand history and how it reflects now.
Right.
So that's sometimes on the show when we're doing the podcast and the chat, some people will try to debate me all the time, like it's no big deal. And I think they think because I'm younger than they are, they think they can school me sometimes. I'm just saying, no, I can go with the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look you sit next to your pop. I'm sure you just get so much game from him. So what is that? But all right, let me ask you, what is that process like now? Because at first, you know, it was once a week. Now it's 2 times a week, right?
Yeah.
So what is that process like of researching, and like how do you get time in now that you have a newborn? How do you get that grueling time in of researching to make sure you get facts straight? Like, what is that process like before you kick off an episode?
So me, and I tell people to do this when you're looking for information. We search wide. So we search left wing, right wing, stuff we don't agree with. We research it all and we put it on a list. Like if it's interesting enough, we'll put it on a list. And then we'll sit down on Monday when I see him. We'll sit down with me. What about this? Nah, I don't know about that. What about this? Yeah, let's go with that. And then we'll get more information. And then sometimes because some of the information we get, it sounds so out there. But I'm like, no, I got this from Washington Post. And sometimes I'll put the link in the chat so people can check it out so they know I'm not lying. And then again, we just search real wide for everything, like no matter what. And then that's why I tell people don't just shut people out because you don't really agree with them. Just kind of listen. I listen to a bunch of different other podcasts. Right. Again, people I might not necessarily agree with, but it's interesting to hear how they think.
Right.
Their perspective, how they think. Like I went to high school with people who are full-fledged Republicans, and I would see what they post on Instagram, and like I would hit them like, oh, why do you think that? And sometimes it'd be a good point. I'm like, oh, okay, I know so that. Right. Sometimes you bugging, not with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I guess that's also a benefit for me because I went to school with a lot of different people. My friends, everybody has really strong opinions about a lot. So I'm able to just kind of, and me and my friends, we debate stuff all the time. So that's practice for the show. So when that happens.
So that's interesting. So do y'all, I guess you do too, y'all freestyle when that camera on, is it like a freestyle? Like you have your notes down, but after that, it's like we boom, we go.
Yeah, facts. We don't, and at first, the first like I want to say like 50 episodes, my pops didn't even like knowing the topics. He wanted to just like he wanted me to just present them and then because we took a little break after 50 episodes, we didn't even know we were gonna come back, but then we decided we're gonna take it more serious as a platform. So he said, okay, I want to like. That's when we started getting really picky about what we talked about. We started having like weekly meetings about what what's gonna happen about with the company, with the business and things like that. So. I wouldn't say it's a freestyle, but we don't talk about each other's opinions.
No, okay, gotcha.
Going in, I know that, but sometimes it'll bleed over to the dinner table, and then we'll come to the show. But we can't help it.
Of course. So, all right, let me bring it all home with the last point, like the willpower to actually to put stuff into motion. So you spoke on the faith aspect, and you did have the doubts, and like you said, the family business, so y'all do butt heads. So for anybody that again that's on the edge and just want to give up, like what is that? Like talk a little bit on the willpower that you met, like because I always use this, man, like it's like a glass ceiling, but you can break through it, I believe. Like it's a glass ceiling there, but if you got that mental fortitude, you can bust that glass and the sky's the limit. So what is it about that willpower that you went through, or at what point was it that you said, all right, even in the process of you doing, like you said, y'all don't know if y'all gonna come back or not, but y'all did. What was that willpower like for you? Going through the family, butting heads with the family, and just finally saying, I don't care what nobody think. We're gonna push forward and be serious about this. Like, just talk a little bit on that willpower.
I think, me personally, I think it's just something we each individually have in ourselves. Like I said, my first instant of pushing through was when I was young, when I was taking martial arts and then football, and then trying to get better because I saw the benefit of just kind of working towards something. A lot of people right now, they see what they perceive as like overnight successes and think like, oh, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, anything that's built up super fast comes down just as quick. So I don't think people appreciate the value in really just grinding towards something. It sounds cool. It sounds cool for an Instagram post. It sounds cool for, but a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people really have it in them to really just go through it. And a lot of people do. I feel like, me personally, I feel more rewarded once I do.
Man, yeah.
A lot of people don't understand the concept of delayed gratification either. They want it all right there and right now.
Right now.
And I think the most successful people, if you read their stories, in my opinion, aside from everything else, right? Aside from what they had to do to get, like, you know, some of that thing, but most of these really successful people really understood the idea of delayed gratification. Like, really understood what it meant to put something off and really sacrifice for a long-term goal. And I don't really like throwing like my generation under the bus, but a lot of people in my generation don't understand it either. Sometimes, and I fight with it sometimes too. I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I want it all right then and there. Sometimes I don't have the discipline, and sometimes I can lock in. A lot of times.
Right. So can it be a learned behavior?
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Okay.
Because one of the things people, in my opinion, people mess up with is they try to hit the home run immediately, right? So they have a goal to lose 20 pounds and they think they're going to lose it Monday when they wake up, right? They think, you know, Monday I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m., I'm going to eat right, go to the gym, do what I got to do, and then sometimes like they don't, right there it's over. A lot of the times they don't understand like a long-term goal is boring.
Man.
There are days where you don't want to do anything, but those days, when you get past those days, really mean the most. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, and I wrote about this on one of my blog posts, about how a lot of people, when they have a big goal, they'll announce the big goal on Twitter, like, oh, I'm about to lose, I'm going to go on a diet. Or I'm about to create a business. And then people start congratulating them. And then once that happens, your brain starts to trick you into thinking you did it already.
Yeah.
And then once, you know, you start the diet or you start your business, whatever, and it doesn't pop immediately, you think like it's the end of the world. When I personally like to keep things to myself, so I can fight those inner battles myself. So I can, if I don't want to wake up at 5 and I wind up having to do so to go to the gym or write this chapter or edit this video, like I can just do it myself. You know what I mean? I can have that battle with myself and not have everybody know about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that because, you know, just the struggle, you have to really appreciate the struggle of getting to where you gotta go because it's gonna take time. Like now, like I said, y'all 3 years in on that, and for real, on some point, 3 years it goes by fast. You know what I'm saying? But I'm seeing now, y'all, that's why I'm happy for y'all because I'm seeing now, even on the chat, donations are getting bigger and bigger. Each time you do it, you're consistent with it. So I know, you know, the struggle is there, but people have to really embrace that struggle, man. Are y'all thinking about, you know, having guests come on the show, or like what's the new things y'all got, you know, that you can speak on that you got coming up?
We definitely want to have people at least video chat within the podcast because sometimes it takes a lot for people to actually come up. And then we have to. Sometimes that could be much.
Right.
But like Professor Griff actually called in. We want to do more of that, more things like that.
Okay,
Professor Griff called in last episode, and that was random. Like that wasn't planned at all. He just called. We like,
real time, real time.
We were like, oh, all right, but so we want to have like more video guests come in. We got something special coming up in like I would say 2 weeks. We want to announce something else. Okay. So that's all I can really say for right now.
Got you. All right, I ain't gonna hold you too long, but I do want to ask you. I got a couple more questions. One, you know, now that you have a newborn, just what is to you the importance of legacy? You come from your father, been in doing this for years. You know, trying to liberate his people with information and knowledge. So now you're coming into your own. So what is it about to you? What does legacy mean to you? And what do you feel like you're gonna leave for your children? So, you know, as we go through this, because it's only gonna get darker. Times is only gonna get darker before it gets some type of light. But what is it about? What do you see with you leaving a legacy behind, or continuing what your family's been doing? Like, what does legacy mean to you?
So legacy is super important, and right now, like doing a podcast, writing a blog post is more than just me now. You know what I'm saying? Which is like, I always knew that would be the feeling eventually, but actually having my son here now, it's even that more important to leave something for him.
Yes.
Because we always like read about those those families with the long history, but something like you don't realize they had to start somewhere. So like who knows what he's going to be doing. And me personally, I don't want to force anything on him. My pops never forced anything on me. I kind of just came into the business aspect of it, but I always followed my parents' example of how they approach education, how they approach how they keep to their values and things like that. So that's if there's any example I want to leave for him, is that. If I would like for him to come into the family business because by the time he's old enough, I want it to be something even more grand, and I want him to just come into something. Because
you said it though. You said example. That's key. Like you said, even with your folks, they just did an example, and you were like, this makes sense, because the greatest empires or whatnot is all bloodline, is all legacy. That this is an example. You know what I'm saying? Like again, I don't want to force my son, but I do hope to leave an example for him to continue this fight and this mission, because we in the fight, definitely in the fight.
Right, so, and I want him to grow up to where like him seeing me, his mom, like everybody doing something, and it kind of just makes sense. It doesn't feel like it's a choice that's forced on him.
Right.
So that's mainly it right now.
Right. All right. Well, my last question before we get out of here, because I always ask when I have artists or whatever, I ask them if you was on a forever journey, what 3 albums would they like to? Can they listen to? But for you, I'm gonna ask you this one. If you're on a forever journey, whatnot, you can only take 3 books that you would, 3 books that you can, read forever. What those 3 books are they?
Whoa, that's a good one. All right, so first book would be The Alchemist.
The Alchemist, good one.
That's one of my favorite books. Second book, it's alright. So because my pops is an author, so I'm not gonna throw him under the bus. So I'll say Urban Culture Decoded. You know what I'm saying?
That's nice.
But the third, it's tough. I would choose between Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday or 48 Laws of Power. I can read those. I can read those 2 all day.
Hey, that's a mean book. So listen, y'all heard that one, right? Yeah. And make sure y'all definitely get and check out the Urban X. What is it? UrbanXbook.com.
Or you can visit shopurbanx.com. That's where we have everything.
ShopUrbanX.com. Definitely check out the books there. I'm about to get into read into yours and see, getting your stories definitely. So, I'm a supporter, man. I'm in there. I'm a supporter from the start. So I appreciate everything. So one last thing though for the people listening, some little advice on your exit advice that you would give to individuals that want to get into media, to do podcasts or radio or be an author, advice would you give them that's trying to head into this media game?
I would say embrace the boring days. Embrace the boring days. Embrace the days you're not really getting that many views, you're not getting that much engagement, because I think that those days teach you the most. You know what I'm saying? Than the days that you have the most success. So I say embrace the boring days. Those really teach you a lot, and embrace learning. You know what I mean? Embrace learning, because a lot of us, we get stuck in our ways and the things we can and can't do. I didn't know how to edit a video 3 years ago, but I can do it quick now. We didn't know how to set up mics into a board and podcast and have it live stream. We didn't know how to do any of that, but if you see us in action, we're like a well-oiled machine at this point, and we still have a lot to learn.
Right.
So I would say just keep learning and embrace the boring days. That's my advice.
Hey man, listen, I appreciate you, bro. Definitely hope to still stay connected with you. Thank you for tapping in and, you know, giving my listeners something to take home. Yeah, man, Urban X, man, y'all definitely check out Malcom, man. You do a great job again moderating the show.
Thank you.
Organized, man. So, you know, I'm gonna stay tuned. So yeah, man, appreciate you coming connecting with me, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir, man. I'll let you. Till next time. Peace.
All right, man. Peace.
Yes, sir. All right, family. That was Malcom, man. That was a good one, I believe. That was good. That's going to be able to monetize, if that makes sense. So, yeah, yeah, man. So, yeah, definitely. Thanks for tapping into me, y'all. Have a blessed Sunday, man. For my radio folks, bro, continue to vibe out with me. Make sure y'all download Stationhead app. Y'all can just kick back and listen to the music that you like to listen to. Peace, man. Until next Sunday, man. I'll let y'all. Y'all be blessed.